Part C is looking for critical points. Critical points are when the derivative is equal to 0. So if h is defined as g of x minus 1/2 x squared, then h prime of x will equal g prime of x minus 2 times 1/2 x, or just minus x. And so I know what this looks like. That is a line. And this I know because they've given me this graph. So if I'm looking to see when this is equal to 0, then another way to write that is where g prime of x equals x. And so this goes back to the idea of graphing things and solving by graphing. We know what this looks like. It's sketched here. We also know what y equals x looks like. It's a line. So if I superimpose the line with slope of 1 onto g prime of x, it's almost like taking it to your calculator and calling this y1 and this y2, graphing them together and finding an intersection. So I'll do that. There are two intersecting points, and therefore there are two critical points. X equals whatever that value is. I'm going to call it question mark. And x equals 3 are the obvious critical points where g prime of x equals x or g prime of x minus x equals 0. Now to have a max or min, we need a sign change. And in this case, there's no sign change because y1 equals x is always greater than or equal to f prime or g prime of x. So that's not a sign change. But here there is a sign change. At first, the derivative is greater. So this is greater, and x is less. That's all of this point. And then, above that, now we have x is greater, and g prime is less. And so when we have an indication where we're going from positive to 0 to negative, that's the indication that we have here because our derivative is greater than x, and then it switches. This question mark is a max. And so the last thing is to figure out when that happens. So I use the Pythagorean theorem here. I know that the radius of my circle is 2. And this is an isosceles triangle because it's at 45 degrees. So I made a little sketch, 2x and x, and I solved the equation x squared plus x squared equals 2 squared, or 2x squared equals 4, x squared equals 4, x equals 2, x squared equals 2, and x equals square root of 2. So that's the x value at which we have the crossing line. So now I know x is no longer question mark, it's radical 2, and I have a max, and at x equals 3 there's a plateau point. So we would call that neither.